to do a serious one.
Yeah.
So joining you live from the World Championship 2023 in Barcelona, the Living Legend podcast.
Hey gentlemen, have you heard? The newest big thing in TCG and wargaming is now live on Kickstarter. What? Where is it? I need to see it. Let me have it. I've already got my copy. You can find it on grimpath.com or on Kickstarter right now.
Yeah, it's all good.
Midnight for Az, chilling in his burger hoodie. He's just vibing, man.
Hell yeah.
Just vibing.
All right, well, that'll start us off, I suppose. Welcome once again to the Living Legends podcast. I am your host for today. I am Bill. For all of our video viewers, I am very intentionally not looking at the camera because of my new ring light. It is more obnoxious with my glasses, being a glasses haver, to look directly into the camera. But speaking of glasses havers,
Wow.
my two
Great segue.
my
Best
two
one yet.
lovely co-hosts.
Wow.
Let us start off with alphabetical order. I'm a big fan of alphabetical order. We have Az. Welcome, Az.
How's it going, folks? For the video listeners and viewers, I'm wearing just a burger hoodie today, which is basically like a blanket that you put on because it's midnight where I am right now. A little bit chilly because me and my missus have moved back in with my mum for a bit, so we can start saving for our own place. You know, this day and age, it's hard to do that.
Very nice.
So we're currently in her house, which is currently being renovated. So the lounge doesn't even have any. You probably can't see it without me turning the camera around. The actual walls don't have any plaster on, so it's a little bit chilly in here. But yeah, it's a stepping stone to greater things, and these things happen in life. But yeah, loving life nonetheless, and back to do Living Legends podcast again, which is always a good time.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. Happy to hear it. Happy to see it. Happy to have you on.
Yes.
I mean, I think you've been on more of these than I have, but I'm the host, so I got to pretend. As well, we also have the other one, the one who hosts all the videos. We have Kel, also known as Red Zone Rogue.
Hello, hello. The rumors of my dislike of Flesh and Blood have been greatly over-exaggerated. Hello, I'm Kel. And I'm happy to be here, as always, to talk about Flesh and Blood every single week here on the Living Legends podcast. We got some really exciting news that dropped last week. News that has made me the most excited I've been about Flesh and Blood since Outsiders, and I don't say that lightly. So we'll get into that a little bit later in this episode. Until then, we have some other stuff cooking. But don't worry, we will be talking about Part the Mistveil quite a bit. Be assured.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Speaking of exciting things, another segue. This video is sponsored. Kel, why don't you bring us away and tell us a little bit about our sponsorship for this episode?
Yeah, so this is something we normally don't do, right? So we typically do a sponsor that's like a Flesh and Blood adjacent, like a card store or something like that. But I felt, and by I mean like we all kind of felt that this was appropriate because I think there's like a cross connect between potential Flesh and Blood players and this game, Grimpath, because Grimpath is not just a trading card game, it is a war game. And so I would consider it more like TCG adjacent rather than a TCG game. And it's a really, really cool game. It's one that I've covered personally on my own channel, Red Zone Rogue, a few times. The creator of the game, his name is Dave, and he is a former video game, well, not former, he still works in the video game industry, but he's a video game industry veteran. He's worked at Double Fine on games like, I don't know, Psychonauts, Brutal Legend. He's worked on a lot of the big name games from Double Fine, and the quality really, really shows. It's a really cool war game mixed with the trading card game. I like to think of it kind of like a XCOM kind of feeling type thing. You move your minis around and then you have cards that are your attacks and stuff, right?
Good comparison. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, Az has checked out the game too. What did you think of it?
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. Dave sent me a little package with the 2 starter decks in, which I do plan on making some gameplay videos for. I don't know how many, because there's not much, stuff you can do with 2 starter decks. But I'm going to do make some content on it very soon. But I've backed it recently because it's on Kickstarter now as well. So I have backed the starter set plus the 1 box. So I've backed it at that level. But yeah, it's all on Kickstarter now. Yeah, Dave's great. Yeah, definitely looking forward to it because I think it can be played very casually as well as potentially competitively. But anytime you sort of add in a spatial grid-based element, just adds more variance, especially with the terrain setup phase and all this as well. So I think it'll make a great kitchen table game.
Yeah.
Between two mates.
I think the big emphasis to Flesh and Blood players is that this doesn't have to be a replacement to Flesh and Blood. This can be like a fun tabletop board gamey experience that supplements all of your other card playing, your other like your Flesh and Blood playing. You don't have to buy into it like you do Flesh and Blood. You can just get like the box set and then play it like a war game, right? You don't really have to engage with it in the TCG space. So
exactly.
I think it's a really good like supplemental game for card players, and it's just really, really fun. And it has the kind of fun and polish you'd expect coming from someone who is a video game industry veteran. And so, check it out. We have links in the description down below for the Kickstarter and all that good stuff. Yeah,
so that'll be in the description box below. And as you've probably, if you're sort of avid listeners of the Living Legends podcast, you know that we like all things gaming, not just Flesh and Blood, but all things gaming. And speaking of which, Bill had something else related to all things gaming. So I'll throw it over to you before we do our Flesh and Blood stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So there were a couple of you that came up to me this weekend, and I say that not within my own house, but because I was in Chicago.
They just walked up to your house. Hey, Bill.
Hey, are you Bill from the Living Legends podcast? No, it was there were a few Flesh and Blood players that walked up and said hi to me, which was very surprising because I was at a Magic the Gathering event. I was at Magic Con Chicago, which I just got back from 18 hours ago, just about.
Nice.
Yeah, it was literally midnight last night, and it was an absolute blast. I had such a fantastic time. I only played like 2 or 3 games of Magic. It was mostly just meet and greet people and hanging out and having a great time, and I did.
Sounds about right.
I got to meet so many cool people. Unfortunately, I only saw Prof one time, and it was as he was trying to find his way to the convention hall. So I was just like, I'm just going to let him do his thing. I don't want to bother him. I probably wouldn't want to be bothered either. He was all turned around and whatever. So I was like, that's fine. But I did get to meet a bunch of other really cool people. Got to party, got to eat some deep dish pizza.
Oh, hell yeah, bro.
Which I haven't had in like 15 years or something, at least not traditional. And it was fantastic. For anybody in the know about the Magic cons, I won't go into too much detail, but there's this thing called the Unknown event, and long story short, it's like a draft where they also have cards that were like playtest cards that were created by the like lead designer of Magic the Gathering. And we got a card for the Spike Feeders. I'm trying to show it on camera, but because of my ring light, it's kind of impossible to see, but it's called the Spike Cactus. So we now have like technically a card that was created by Wizards of the Coast, at least somebody from there, which I think is super cool, and we all freaked out when we saw it. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to. It's been a fantastic time, and thank you if there's anybody that's listening that did come up to me at MagicCon Chicago. It meant a lot to me to be recognized at an event that was for a different game, but still be recognized for Flesh and Blood. That was really cool. I really appreciated that.
Yeah, that's nice. Awesome. I have 2 things to say about the MagicCon Chicago stuff, because obviously I was not there, but I had some friends there, Bill included, as well as Magic the Gathering and Flesh and Blood content creator Yui, as well as my friend the Professor. And I'm not surprised that you only saw him once in like passing, because that dude was in like super high demand for the weekend. I've been following him on Twitter, and this is at least my channel related. He and I have some plans to get together later this month to chat about stuff. We're going to record an interview and all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
But yeah, it was cool to see like so many people have such an excellent weekend with trading card games, regardless of it being Magic the Gathering. I love it personally when I see people just loving trading card games. I feel like it's a win for the entire industry when people can come together and just have a great time with the medium. It's already such a niche hobby, and to see like such good vibes, I'm always super happy about that. I even posted recently on Twitter that there's some other card games coming out that I'm not personally interested in, Star Wars Unlimited and the Dragon Ball Fusion. But I have a lot of friends who are, and they're loving it, and they're just loving card games. And that just makes me, I don't know, just really happy to see. It's like this warm feeling for me. I just love card games so much, and seeing that is just great. So hearing like Bill's experience and other people's experience in Chicago was really cool to see. So yeah, I dig it. I thought it was cool.
It was just phenomenal. I'm already looking forward to the next one. Again, not even like a little bit to play Magic, but mostly just to like hang out with people. Everybody was really cool. So
Yeah, that's exactly the reason I go to things, is mainly just, the people and the hangouts rather than the actual game itself. But it's just amazing how these games can sort of foster that I want to go halfway across the world, or I want to go to a different state or whatever, just to hang out with the same people that like the same things I do. It's just a great thing, great conduit to making friends. That's the whole reason that we're doing this, right? Because of a game.
I mean, yeah.
So yeah, it's all good stuff.
Yeah. Well, with that said, let's get into, I guess, our more flesh and blood related things this week. I'm going to start because mine is very short, but I think it segues into what Az might have to say. So
yeah.
My week in Flesh and Blood is, like I said, pretty short. Haven't done too much. I've been working on some videos for Channel Fireball. We have a top 5 generic cards video that should be coming out soon, as well as a video that touches upon an old topic that I did called How Much Pitch, which I just talk about deck building for people who want to brew decks, and talk about how much pitch you should have for each kind of deck type and all that kind of good stuff. And then we did 2 other things. Obviously, we had last week's episode of The Living Legends with Brian Gottlieb. If you haven't seen that yet, go check it out. It was a really good and fun talk about heavy hitters mechanics, as well as some other stuff too, because we dip into some past sets like Bright Lights as well, and talk about, the successes and failures of that set. Maybe I shouldn't say failures, successes and things to improve upon, and lessons learned from that set. So definitely go check that out. And then the other thing that I did was I did some casting with Az for his new series that is based from his new Discord tournament league, the league that means nothing.
That's right.
So yeah, that was really fun. And I guess
we got to cast a Kasai versus Azalea game, didn't we? Which was cool.
It was a sweet game. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spoil. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say that actually comes out on Thursday. So it's the 1st of March. Yeah, I believe you were going to throw it over to me after that, weren't you?
Yeah.
Getting that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not gonna spoil that match, but it was very, very close. It was definitely worth watching. Comes down to the wire. You should check it out when it comes out. It's fun.
Definitely. Yeah, it's a good one. But yeah, that comes out on the 1st of March. That's the last match of the feature matches this week. But the first match actually dropped today. So that's pretty much my week, and probably going to be my weeks in Flesh and Blood for the foreseeable future, because it is an ongoing thing. With not just gameplay videos, but also like league report updates and sort of where people are on the table and all this, because it's 7 rounds of Swiss, then a top 8. So it's going to be quite a lot of games to do. And if you guys are up for it, you can cast some games. I can send you the videos, and you can do it. We can all do it potentially if we get a moment. That'll be awesome. If you guys want to do that. Yeah,
possibly. Have another drunk Living Legends cast.
Absolutely. But yeah, so a couple of games come out on Go Again Gaming this week. So we got Reinar versus Reinar, which came out today. That was the first one. It's been pretty well received, and it was a good game. Then tomorrow we've got, Tuesday, when you're listening to this, you would have seen Kasai versus Dromai. So that's DM Armada against Mocha, or that's their internet name. So that's Kasai versus Dromai. And then when this drops, there's also Olympia versus Phi. So that's going to be out on as of today when you're seeing this on the Wednesday. And then tomorrow when you're hearing this, it will be the Kasai v Azalea game that me and Kel did. So yeah, the league ultimately means nothing to the winners. So it's a funny premise. CC is normally like a very, very high stakes event and game style, but this game and this league just really means absolutely nothing whatsoever. So it's nice to see that people just want to get together and play CC for no stakes really. So yeah, good little initiative, I think, and it's going to keep me very busy, which is something I actually was struggling with, was trying to find what I wanted to do with Flesh and Blood this year, and I think I found it in this, which is good. And I've got another Azalea Cult episode coming up soon as well, which is going to be just like all about Azalea and the stuff that people collect for the character, and then tying that into why that happens in Flesh and Blood, because it's very hero centric. We've heard it all before, but it's just a nice chance for me to show off a lot of people's Azalea Cult swag, basically. But that's a great thing about this game, right? You just gravitate towards a certain hero, you start collecting things for that hero, artist proofs, altars, all the cold foils, all the gold foils in some people's case.
I didn't show off my print. I have an Azalea art print too. Oh well.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
What's that? Which one's that?
I mean, you're gonna see some anime figures because they're kind of in front of it, but it's the one right there. She's kind of behind the.
Oh yes, Sikkim shot.
Yeah. That's I got that one really early on, probably around, I don't know, but before Tales of Aria came out. That's from Alexandra Malagina or something like that. I can't remember her name, the artist, but yeah.
It's a nice one. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame the card itself isn't actually used, because obviously it's a 2 for 4 with Go Again, isn't it? Really,
it's a yeah.
Shot. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been doing. But it has kept me busy, which is nice. So yeah, a couple of things that you can expect from Go Again Gaming on a regular basis now, which is good. But yeah, apart from that, not much else really. Although when you tagged me in that Twitter post this week about the Olympia 9-0 deck, I was like, yes, let's have a look at this deck list.
Yeah,
and it's quite surprising actually. It's for a hatchet. It's a hatchet Olympia.
Yeah, hatchet Olympia. I mean, that does make a little bit of sense, right? Because Olympia from Heavy Hitters doesn't really have like a great signature weapon from that set when you really kind of think about it. I know some people were thinking about doing like Decimator Axe Olympia and that kind of stuff, but hatchet makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's a cool list. It has Burdens of the Past in it, which I think is pretty sweet. I think Carol from LSS, he's one of the devs from LSS, shared that, and I retweeted it, and I was like, yo, someone get asked this list.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I appreciate that, because seeing Burdens of the Past is like, we haven't really seen that being played, but it's pretty cool because it just means that, you know, especially in Olympia where you don't want people to block, if they've used a sink below already and then you play Burdens of the Past, I guess they can't use that sink below because they've already played it before. So I guess you can make sure that certain things hit, and it's a blue block 3, which is great in this deck because obviously you want to be cracking gold, and what's good for that? Blues. So
I think a lot of folks are also running in like that all you got these days in various lists, and there's a lot of DRX kind of floating around. So I like it, and you know, that's still one of my favorite cards from the set. I literally bought a full play set of foil versions of it because I think it's such a sweet card. It's also just a 0 cost block 3 as well. So I mean, it's a sweet card. Big fan. Yeah.
So that was cool, pretty cool to see. And just going off the Olympia train as well, and what you said about Decimated Great Axe, that is the Olympia that you would have seen yesterday when you're hearing this on the Go Again Gaming Olympia v5. It was Olympia with Decimated Great Axe. But yeah, trying to keep up with Fi's output is difficult in that sort of I want to try and block everything is quite hard. That strategy. This Olympia list looks like it's actually trying to be aggressive, which I didn't think he would want to try and do based on what the buzz has been about it.
I mean, it makes sense given that Olympia has this kind of like sort of built-in draw power, right? So if you can get enough gold, and you can just kind of crack them all and get a bunch of floating resources and draw, you know, into your aggro cards. I don't know. It makes sense. It seems cool. I dig it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's good. It went 9-0. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be using that as a basis to play Olympia just online, and just, you know, see if I can get to grips with what it's trying to do, because I'm not really the person to try and work it out. But this Andre Ryan obviously is, because they went 9-0 and got Olympia Living Legend points, you know, which is great. Fair play to them.
I honestly think a bit of it too is like I imagine his opponents vastly underestimated him. They're like, oh, it's Olympia meme deck, easy win, and then they just get destroyed because they underestimated it.
Yeah, I think a lot of heroes have that capability, don't they? If nobody knows what they actually do because they're not really established, I guess you can eke out some wins, and in this case, 9 wins in a row. But yeah, there's always that potential as well, isn't there? Which is good.
Yeah, it's it reminds me of just kind of like this overall feeling I've had with Flesh and Blood recently, where the game has transitioned from me. Like there was a point in time where I would buy so much of every set that I would have a full play set of every set, and then I would build like multiple heroes and have a bunch of different decks. And it's transitioned from that for me to more of a, I'm just gonna build the couple heroes that I like and just maintain that, which seems to be like the prevailing thought in Flesh and Blood going forward. And it allows situations like this to happen for both parties, like, right? So if you are the Olympia expert, you're like, I'm the Olympia expert, I know Olympia through and through, I can come in and like dominate because people think he's, you know, underpowered. And then you also have the people that he's playing against who are just like, well, I'm only going to play this one hero because it's the only one hero that I play, right? So I don't know, it's an interesting thing for Flesh and Blood. Yeah, Bill just talked about Magic, and some of the stuff I was paying attention to this weekend was the Pro Tour was also happening at Chicago, and kind of a deck that everyone thought was a meme deck ended up winning, which I thought was kind of funny as well. So it was like this vampire deck that everyone thought was like a joke. I don't know. I just think I like to think about parallels between that kind of stuff. I think Magic is a little bit more of a flexible game, but whereas like, you know, if you're like, you can't really go all in a single deck in Magic unless you're playing an Eternal format, is what I'm trying to say. Because Flesh and Blood is just an Eternal game, more or less. Yeah. There's the Living Legend system, which makes it, you know, a little different, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my long-winded way of saying.
Yeah, a couple of tangents, but what is the main topic for today, Bill?
The main topic for today actually is just about the only interesting thing that has happened that at least I know about in the past week, which is, I mean, pretty exciting, all things considered. Yeah. We got a new set spoiled, and it is, I mean, something that I think a lot of people have been looking forward to for a long time. Part the Mistveil. So this was revealed at Worlds.
No. This was it was just dropped. I just
saw world premiere.
Yeah. It was just dropped a couple days ago, and they announced the world premiere for that alongside the first calling in Japan. So it will be a world premiere in Tokyo plus calling Japan. So it's like part the Mistveil plus like Japanese localization news, because it will be the first set printed in the Japanese language.
Yes, which I'm personally extremely excited about.
Me too.
Oh, gotcha.
And both the calling and the world premiere event will be using both English and Japanese cards, which I think is really, really cool. The event obviously is for the Japanese players because this is the first debut of Flesh and Blood in their language. So having all the cards available at the event in their language is good. For the world premiere event, you will choose if you're playing English or Japanese, and then you will only play against players with that language, which once again, I think is also very good because you're not forcing the Japanese people to have to read English cards. Because it's like, once again, like I said, I think this is their event. For the calling, it's a little bit different. For the calling and the battle hardened, it's a little bit different. So for the calling, and I do believe for the battle hardened, you can choose for the sealed portion. You can choose if you want English or Japanese, but there is no language segregation kind of deal. Like you're going to be playing against both languages, right? So you gotta learn the cards. And then for the top 8 draft for both of them, they are in Japanese, period. And this also makes a lot of sense to me. Have the draft be in all one language, so it's uniform as you're passing around the packs. And it being in Japanese also makes sense because once again, this is their event. Their first premiere event in their language. So, yeah, if you're going to be there, if you're going to be competing at the highest level, hey, you should probably learn the cards. Hopefully they release like the full spoilers a little bit ahead of time, or some way that people could look up the cards if they don't know what they do. But I think it's awesome. So
yeah,
yeah,
I'm Really, really pumped for this one, especially because the key art that they included in the Part the Mistveil reveal article has a very familiar silver-haired illusionist. They are facing away from the camera, as it were, so can't really tell who they are, but
Oh, come on.
appears to be the same. Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's Icelander." It's not Icelander.
Dude, look at her hand. It's not Icelander. All right.
It's not
like,
Icelander.
it's a Mira.
That's what I said originally.
Yeah, it's a Mira. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just say if you look at her pose very much looks like the Icelander Everfest pose. That's all my argument was. You know, it's got the hands out, sort of hair back sort of situation. But yeah, it looks like everything is pointing towards the blue illusionist who we've seen on a few cards.
I mean, you could say that the art is just a little blue, with
yeah.
blue. I mean, it looks exactly like one of her cards. There's like the moon in the background. It's got like this magical blue wispy stuff. Like that's what she does. That's what she does.
It's yeah, very similar to the illusionist that we saw in Flicker Trick, as well as Fractal Replication.
Spears of Surreality.
Spears of Surreality.
The Chimera one. She's in like a lot of art. She's one of my favorite characters that hasn't been printed yet. I love her so much. Like, I literally work with Emanuela Crovius because I loved her art from Spears of Surreality so much. And I have since she's helped me design my original character Villain, and she did a bunch of art for me. So like the whole reason I work with this artist is because of this character from Flesh and Blood. I like I said, this is the most excited I've been for a new set since Outsiders. And also it's like set in Misteria, which is the second area. Like the second area that I wanted to visit the most. If Pitts is my number 1, Misteria is my number 2, and they're like close, right? It's not a big gap; it's a pretty close gap. So yeah, I am unbelievably excited for this set.
Yeah.
What do you guys think before I get into my theories?
Mechanically, I'm not stoked for how this affects Azalea because we're going to have 3 illusionists in the bloody pool now, which we have to fight against, which is just not fun.
I've heard people say that, but we have like literally 9 guardians, so I think a third illusionist is fine.
Yeah, true, but yeah, I'm not looking forward to facing yet another illusionist. But I imagine this is going to be a lot different. I don't know how the mist and stuff is gonna sort of feature into it. If they said if this is going to be talented or not,
it's talented.
They have.
Well, they haven't outright said it, but they did say like experience the talents of Misteria. Like they specifically said it in like the thing in the art or in the little blurb.
I'm reading the article now. It says releasing on May 31st. Part of Mistveil marks the long-awaited arrival of a new talent, unlike anything Wraith has seen before.
Yeah.
Okay, so I answered my own question just by looking at the article. So don't listen to the podcast. Just read stuff instead. That's what I say.
I do. I made like a 20-minute video, kind of like breaking down this and my thoughts and giving some crackpot theories. So at one point in the article, it says something along the lines of discover the ancient talents of Misteria, and that's plural. They plural talents, not the ancient talent of Misteria. They pluralize it. So I think there's a not zero chance that we get 2 talents, like 2 parallel talents.
Interesting.
And I think it would make sense because last week we had Brian Gottlieb on the podcast, and he really expressed the idea that they feel that 6 heroes is what they've kind of arrived at being the really, really good sweet spot for draftable sets. And we know this set is a draftable set. We know all 3 sets this year are draftable sets. That has been stated multiple times before. So this set is a draftable set. And given that, what Brian said, it's very likely 6 heroes. And given that, it's very likely 3 classes. And given that, I think it would make a ton of sense draft-wise if you have 3 classes, 6 heroes, and 2 talents, each hero from a class being one of the 2 talents. That way, in draft, you can stay open a little bit and draft talent cards at the start before you pick which class you're going to be playing. And then you could also be open by drafting like generic cards as well. Or you can just draft the specific class, right? The ninja only cards or the whatever only cards. It makes a ton of sense for draft. I think it sounds really cool and really, really fun if they do that. James has gone on record saying it's his favorite set and best design. I love James, but he says that like every other set, so it's hard to see how much of that is true. But I wouldn't be surprised if it is actually their best set, because they seem to be learning quite a bit from all of the stuff.
Well, Brian said it in the last podcast, didn't he? They're learning from everything that they do, and the fact that he feels like Outsiders was a million years ago is because of the lessons they've learned along the way so far. So hopefully this is everything that James is hyping it up to be, with the fact that it's a favourite set. Very much looking forward to it. What do we think we're going to get then? Illusionist. What other classes do you reckon we might get in this?
I have receipts for this. So there is so they released 2 articles, one of them in English and one of them in Japanese. And the Japanese article has, let me pull it up real quick so I can read it out for y'all. It has, if you translate it, it has like a little poem. And the poem references 3 things specifically. It references tigers, it references snakes, and it references the moon. And let me see if I can pull up the article. Okay, here's the Japanese one. Part the Mistveil, translate to English, please. Page could not be translated. Nope. Translate to English, please. There we go. Okay. So here's what it says. It says, for 10,000 years, our ancestors have walked the same path. Like a tiger ambushing its prey, I kept waiting. Like a snake hiding in murky water, I kept waiting. Like the moon waxing and waning, I kept waiting. Until now, the truth lies behind the fog. And so that's the little blurb. And I think, and not just me, a lot of other people also think this, each of those lines corresponds to a class. I think the most obvious is Tiger, because we literally have a Tiger archetype in Ninja. It is literally one of the core mechanics of the set now, or of the class now. They keep making more Tiger stuff. So Ninja, bam, right there. Misteria, Tiger, Ninja, makes sense. Next, a snake hiding in the murky water. Assassin. This is Assassin. What's a snake hiding? What's one of the key mechanics of Assassin? Stealth. This screams Assassin to me. Uzuri is also originally from Misteria. There is a lore precedent for this. And a snake is very assassin-y. Next, like the moon waxing and waning, it's illusionist. Like we have Amira in the splash art. There's a moon above her head. It's illusionist. So I would be incredibly surprised if it isn't Ninja Assassin Illusionist for this class, for this set. Ninja Assassin Illusionist with 2 talents. A talent I would assume, I'm guessing, is like more of an ancient talent, because it says in the splash, or it says in the little blurb, our ancestors have walked the same path. And I imagine that there'll be another talent on top of that. I think the obvious one for Mysteria would be like Mist or something along that. My like lore brain suggestion would also be spirit or ancestral, right? So you can be like an ancestral ninja, spirit assassin, or something like that. Because if you look at a lot of the art for things related to Mysteria, you see a lot of like spirits in the mist, like ghosts. There's the spectral procession artwork with all of like the festival ghosts, and there's a lot of like ghosty kind of stuff that has to do with Mysteria. So yeah, those are that's kind of my spiel.
Yeah, another thing as well, if you type in Tiger into Fabrary, for instance, what you'll also see is things like Ki Unleashed, Predatory Streak, these things that the monks or the ninjas or whatever they are, they're punching things. There's like a load of spirit wolves on Predatory Streak. In Ki Unleashed, there's like a tiger key blast coming out of the lady's leg. There's a couple of key things as well. So that could be, or however you pronounce it. I don't know. It's QI. I think it's key. But it's like the force of what the monks use in a lot of things, like flex claws as key blasts and stuff like in that as well. And on Crouching Tiger, there's a mechanic on Crouching Tiger which says Emferial. I don't know how you pronounce that. But if
ephemeral.
That's it. Yeah. So I imagine that could also be in this set, because if it would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, instead it would cease to exist. I think that's a cool thing that they could probably.
That would be a cool mechanic for like a spirit kind of thing, right? I don't know.
Very cool.
It'd be kind of it'd also be kind of a cool way to do allies. So instead of having your opponent having to attack them or something, maybe they just come onto the field for like one turn and then they disappear or something. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I think it could be cool. I think there could be a lot of cool stuff. And yeah, I'm pretty sold on those 3 classes being in the set. I think Illusionist is obvious. We have Amira in the art. We have the moon. Like, I think it's pretty obvious. And then a tiger, ninja, and then once again, like I said, assassin for the other one makes so much sense. Snake, hiding, like literally stealth. Like, I think not just assassin. I think we're gonna be more stealth stuff from assassin. So
somebody was trolling and saying, "Oh, that snake in the grass or whatever is Riptide."
Yeah, right. No, I don't think. Well, actually, probably not. But I was gonna be like, Riptide might. If Uzuri is in the set, I think Riptide could be in like the art of the set, because he's part of her crew.
Of course, Missouri's from there, right?
Yeah, originally. Like she literally has a Mysterian border for her young side, and her family's from there. And she's kind of like one of the ringleaders for the spider. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a snake guild, like a snake assassin guild. Like we have the spider. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a snake guild. They even say snake. Lore wise, I think this seems like a continuation of Outsiders, because we had ninjas and assassins in Outsiders, and I think we might have a continuation here, and hopefully we'll get some new ninjas, not just Benji and Katsu again. I'm hoping. Okay, actually, you know what? Let's go for this. I think this could be a good discussion point. What are you guys hoping we get? I hope we get a new Ira, or confirmation of whatever happened to Ira. I know there's a lot of tinfoil hats theories on what happened to Ira, whether or not she's a current character or a character from the past. I hope we get an update on what the sitch with Ira is. I hope we get Assassin, and I hope we get either a new Uzuri. I can see them reprinting her actually, but I hope we get a new Uzuri and a new like talented assassin, because we literally don't have a talented assassin in the entire game. And then for Illusionist, I mean, if it's Amira, I'm happy. She's the character that I've wanted the most. So, Amira, please. I don't even care. Like how good she is. She's just cool. And I've been waiting for her to appear in the game so I can commission Livia Prima to draw the 3rd Illusionist, because I have her in the back. Let me see if people can see. Oh, you can't really see. The lights are too bright. I have Dromai and I have Prism, both drawn by Livia Prima. So I would like to commission her to draw Amira as well. So those are my hopes. What do you guys think?
What do you reckon, Bill?
The only one that I care about is Amira. I just want there to be a cool Blue Matters Illusionist, so that all these ghostly touches that I bought can be worth something finally, or that I pulled rather can be worth something finally.
Yeah.
I have like 5 copies of Ghostly Touch. But also, as people know, I love Illusionist. I love weird Illusionists that care about attacking, and Ghostly Touch, cares about your stuff getting popped, which means that you're likely attacking with them. And I think that would work out really well. That might also mean that we just get more pump spells that turn your things into Illusionist things that give them Phantasm. I think this set has the potential to be extremely influential for my aggro Prism deck, and it might change from Prism, although it's kind of unlikely because I kind of need a Luminaris for it to happen, but it'll probably add some cool pieces. That's my main want from the set. Everything else is secondary. I just need cool Illusionist.
Absolutely, we want to see that deck flourish, because that's a fun deck to play against, at least, and to see you pilot it. I know you have so much joy in it. So
It's so pure. Every time I double fractal replication somebody, I ascend.
I have to read. I have to read what that card does. Like, wait, what does this do again?
Oh, people get so confused, and then I'm like, and every time I'm about to play it or I play it, I'll be like, okay, I transmogrify into snatch into fractal replication, and they'll look at it for a second, and I'll be like, okay, so it cares about base power.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Amazing.
That's what I need. I just need more copies of transmogrify. That's what I want.
I mean, we haven't had like a main set illusionist stuff since Uprising, and let's be honest, that was mostly just Dromai Dragony stuff. Like there was like a couple like generic illusionist stuff, but it was mostly Dromai. I mean, Uprising was a very like sequestered set. People say like Ninja, but it was like it was mostly just like Phi stuff, right? There was a couple things here and there, you know, like your double strike or whatever. But yeah, that was like very like a draconic set.
Yeah.
So
Another thing we saw recently was obviously, you mentioned it earlier, I think it was Bill mentioned it, Flicker Trick is obviously a card that, you know, has a mirror on it, and it's got a ninja-esque looking character in there as well. But another thing is that obviously this Flicker Trick is an illusionist defense reaction, so maybe it could be like a defensive illusionist, and this Mirage keyword is the only time I think we've seen Mirage.
yeah,
And that again goes in with the whole sort of the veil being lifted or whatever it is. I think there's a bit of lore somewhere which says that the veil between the worlds is getting thinner or whatever, and that's like a mirage. Right?
Spirit.
Yeah, so I just want to see what weird and wonderful mechanics that come out of this set. But I think there's a couple of hints as to what it could be. Like the Ephemeral and Mirage are quite similar, like in flavor. So we could see more of those. I don't know, but
I mean,
yeah, should be fun.
Here's the most tepid take of all time. I think it might end up being one of the most beautiful Flesh and Blood sets ever made.
Oh yeah.
A lot of the art from Misteria that we've seen, both lore-wise and on cards, are like some of the most beautiful art in the entire game. I think it's going to really give. I think it's going to give Tales of Aria a run for its money. Is what I'm saying. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just look at the splash art and imagine the splash art in foil. I mean.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say that art as well. The key art reminds me of if you played Final Fantasy X, it reminds me of the far plane. When you go to the far plane, it's got that similar sort of vibe. But yeah, it's just a beautiful piece of art. It really is. But yeah, I bet it'll look great in foil, as you said. Like with the moon could be all foil and some of the glittering in the water and stuff. Yeah, it'll be well nice. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I think this is the set that I'm looking forward to the most since Outsiders, and that's good for me. That's really good for me, obviously. But I'll be like 100%, and I think this is pretty apparent to anyone who listens to the Living Legends podcast regularly. Like Bright Lights and Dusk Till Dawn, I was just like, like they're Flesh and Blood sets. I like Flesh and Blood. I like seeing new Flesh and Blood sets. But I wasn't like super excited about them, especially coming out of Outsiders, where I loved everything about that set. Still my favorite set. And Dusk Till Dawn, angels are cool. I spoiled the demon. Demons are cool. But it's like, I didn't rush out to build those decks. And I'll be honest, I don't even remember like any of the commons and rares from that set. And most of the Majestics I don't remember.
Same.
And then Bright Lights, cool concept. I like mech, but it's not my favorite. Probably not even my top 5 classes for Flesh and Blood. Still really cool though. Did a cool thing, but that was just all mech. And I was just kind of like, yeah, this is fun to play a little bit. Now I'm done. And then Heavy Hitters, similar kind of vibe. I think it's cool, but it's just not my favorite, you know? Out of all the 3 classes in that set, Warrior would probably be in my top 5, but it's like, still, it's just like, yeah, this is cool. I like Flesh and Blood, so I like this set. It's fun to play limited with. But outside of Kasai and maybe KO, I'm not really like, you know, breaking the bank to go build another $600 deck or whatever.
Yeah.
But part the Mistveil, new illusionist lady who's one of my favorite characters of all time, maybe, and new maybe assassin stuff. And hey, I like Ninja too. Yeah, I'm so, and also the setting, like I said, Misteria. I love it. Obviously, I would love the, you know, Asian inspired set.
Oh yeah.
But Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to it so much. There's so much cool, like, mysterious stuff going on in Misteria. Like, just think about some of like the coolest art in Flesh and Blood, like Mask of Momentum, right? Or just kind of like some of the cool ninja art with like the floating dojo thing. Like, there's just some cool stuff they got going on. And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, should be good. I mean, with regards to that, what other things do you think we're going to get from that, aside from like the illusionist ninja, you know, the obviously the classes we think we're going to get? Do you think we're going to get any like side, like obviously we had the crack shuffle play, we had the arena deathmatch stuff. Do you reckon we might get something like that as well, or have they confirmed anything like that?
Starter decks, Blitz starter decks are 100% confirmed. So we will be getting Blitz starter decks. They will actually be releasing prior to the set in Japanese to help teach the Japanese audience. I can't remember exactly what they called it, but they're releasing it as kind of like a release, you know, pre-release window thing to help the Japanese market. So they will be released at least earlier in Japan. It says it in the article. Nice. So we do know that. So we'll have starter decks, Blitz starter decks. Outside of that, I don't know. Probably not, but who knows? We'll see. We did hear hints that they would be releasing some other interesting stuff this year. I believe James mentioned it at Worlds. So I mean, this would be a good time to do so. So I wouldn't be surprised if they released some sort of like supplemental product, like maybe a return to classic battles or something. I mean, like, it would make a lot of sense in the truest like sense of the name, doing like a classic battles, like Ira versus something, right? Like a new Ira versus like an illusionist or like an assassin. Dude, okay. I mean, this is just me showing bias between the two classes and stuff, but flavor wise and just kind of like vibe wise from the set, like an assassin versus ninja rival classic battles is like the coolest thing I can think of. Like an Ira versus another like assassin, like, and they're like rival clans or something. That would be the coolest. That would be the coolest thing.
Yeah.
That's what I would do that. If I was making the game, that's what I would do. Yeah. Give Ira like a new card because she was like the first hero. Give her like a cool thing. I don't know. That seems cool to me.
Yeah, that's another thing they didn't really deliver well on, was the classic battles, I feel. So maybe they can do or improve on that to a certain degree, because I was a bit tepid, wasn't it, when that came out?
Yeah, I mean, like, especially when you compare its price point to price point of other products on the market. That was, for me, it was mostly the price point. I think if the classic battles was like $30 or something, that would have been like sweet, you know. But it was like 50, wasn't it? Like 50 or 60. Yeah. And for $50, man, you can just buy like a brand new board game for that. That doesn't have like titanium baubles in it.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking the titanium baubles. I get that they were there to help teach people how to play, but do you want to spend $50 on a product that teaches you how to play? I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I do think that the Blitz decks are currently in a much better state.
Yes.
I know that the classic battles were supposed to be like a step up from that, like a little bit more complicated. But it did also feel bad that, there were cards that were exclusive to those. I know that sort of helps to push the sales of them. But
they did it in a... They tried to like have their cake and eat it too, right? They're like, it's a starter deck product, but we're also going to put like must-have staples in the starter deck product, and we're going to charge you $50 for it. So it's like, I don't know. Just pick and choose. Why don't you just... you could have just made a not starter deck product, made like a mid-level or a high-level tier product with like cool, majestic reprints, and then maybe a one-off card in it. And that way, people who have already learned how to play with like the Ira decks or the Blitz decks could be like, oh, this is my jumping point into like competitive Flesh and Blood, right?
Yeah, because like the thing about having the like good cards, especially at a one of in the set, means that all the people who want this card for competitive purposes now have to buy 3. And so that's 3 of these products that are off the shelves and not getting into the hands of new players that want to learn how to play the game. Yeah. So it inherently cannibalizes itself in terms of supply. So I hope that there's a way for them to continue to make it a good product that won't just sit around on shelves without taking it out of the hands of the players that they're kind of designing it for. That's kind of the main concern I have. Because right now the Blitz decks are, I think, phenomenal ways for players to start the game.
Agree.
They're cheap, they're widely available, and they are good.
Yeah, the Blitz decks are fantastic. My only critique of the Blitz decks, and this is not their intent, so it's a critique that is basically just saying this is what they're not, right? They're not competitive in the slightest degree at all. Like, they have literally no Majestics. That's just all basically what I would call like bulk, right? They did print those like extended art cards to make them kind of a little bit more flashy, but at the end of the day, it's just a bunch of bulk cards. And so they're really good to learn to play. They're really balanced and they play really, really well together. Brian Gottlieb has done a fantastic job on them. For that purposes, I think it's like slam dunk. But what they don't do is they don't provide you an avenue to play competitive Flesh and Blood, because after you get your Blitz decks, go buy singles, because there's no cards in the Blitz deck you're going to use in your competitive CC deck. Like maybe if they put like Sink Below or something, but they don't typically. I haven't looked at the heavy hitters ones. If Sink Below's in the heavy hitters decks, I cool, like good on that. But it's one of the things I think Round the Table did great. Round the Table put Majestic playsets. Like one of the decks had the Melody deck had 2 Cokes Commotion in it. Like that's awesome. It had a Crazy Brew in it, not 2, just 1. But that makes sense for the deck. You only needed 1. Yeah. So
like, I think a way to make these good for players as well as not necessarily like as sort of, I don't want to say they're not as like enticing, but something that sort of what helps for the flipper aspect of it, like with classic battles, where people would exclusively buy them just to get like Glistening Steelblade. And I think there were maybe a couple others that were maybe worth some money, but mostly Glistening Steelblade. They should do things. There was a Magic sort of product for a while.
I know what you're gonna say.
They would have. It would just be like a modern legal deck that was just good, and it would have like one of like a shock land or fetch land or something.
Yes. Okay.
Like you could have a deck that has like one of Enlightened Strike.
We're on the same wavelength. Okay, so I was going to bring up the modern event deck, I think is what it was called, or something like that. And so the modern one, I wanted to bring this up because I think this is definitely a straw man argument, but I think a lot of people would be like, oh, it's just going to kill the value of the Majestic you put in. No. You know what was in the modern event deck? Sword of Feast and Famine. Go look up the price of Sword and Feast and Famine right now, and you'll see that it is still a very, very valuable card. And it was in that modern event deck. I think a one of in it, but I know because that's the version that I play in my SRAM deck. And it's still like
the card is still $50 Canadian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they put like a Command and Conquer in it, sure, Command and Conquer will go down in price for a little bit, but as the product, goes out of print, it'll go back up. And if they put like a different art in it, hey, maybe it'll be, maybe it'll make the old one worth more. Maybe it'll make this new one worth more. Like what? Who knows? But either way, I think it's a win for everyone. So, I mean, unless you specifically want to flip your Command and Conquers like right when it launches, maybe it's not good for you, but.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting line to walk, because if you start to put things that are worth too much in them, then you still have the flipper problem. Like if you just put like spring tunics in them, then people buy them until the price sort of evens out, and tunics are now worth $30.
It depends on the price of the product too, because I think the modern deck, I think it was pretty pricey. I think it was $50, right? It was like 50 or 60 bucks when it came out. So I think that prevented a lot of folks from like buying it and flipping it, if I remember right, because like you wouldn't get a lot of value out of doing that. Because I think at the time, I think the sword was maybe like a $20 card, and I think it also came with a shocker fetch and a couple other stuff. I think the value was like pretty close to the MSRP, like the market value. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I don't remember it being too big of a problem. But I mean, it's not just Magic too. Other games are doing this as well. Like for Shadowverse Evolve, in the Japanese release, they're releasing a pre-constructed deck designed to get you immediately into competitive. And it comes with a full playset of one of the best cards in the game. It comes with a full playset of Forte, which I think she's like a $20 or $30 card. Full playset, and she's a card that came out in the first set. And this deck, I think they're selling it for $20 or $30 US. Comes with a full playset of a $20 card. Like, you can do this. Like, it's not unheard of that games be generous in this way. So I think Flesh and Blood could do this. It would be awesome to see them do this, and I think it would help lower barrier of entry quite a bit.
I genuinely think they should do this for in some capacity for cards that are, I think, a little bit too expensive. Mostly the ones that I'm thinking of are Command and Conquer and Spring Tunic. Although the value of the reprint Spring Tunics are significantly lower than they were sort of pre-reprint, which is something that I'm stoked to see, genuinely.
I think I sold my Bright Lights Tunic for like $60 to a viewer. I was like, yeah. They might have climbed back up, but the prices were going down, and I was just like, you know what? While they're down at this price, I feel very happy selling the card at this low price to someone who's a viewer. So I'm just like, who wants this on Twitter? And someone snapped it up. So
no, yeah. I bought a collection off of one of my friends, Jan from the Spike Feeders. I bought his collection a little while ago, and it came with 2 Kruniks. And I was able to, we haven't made the exchange yet, but we've confirmed it because it happened when I was in Chicago, for selling one for 90 Canadian, which is significantly lower than the like 300 that they were previously. Because I'm pretty sure I sold one to another local back when I think it was when just the Welcome to Wraith version existed. I think it was before the first reprint.
Interesting. Okay. I'm sorry, Bill.
It's called. Oh no, because Krunik existed already. So there was regular Welcome to Wraith and Crew, and it was like maybe a year or two after that, or not that far. It was a while after that, but before the second reprint. And I'm pretty sure I sold it for 300 Canadian dollars, and it was just like a regular Welcome to Wraith one, which felt kind of disgusting at the time. So
yeah.
So
I'm glad they're going down, because it should, like, it is an expensive piece, and that's okay to have in a card game, having like a one of that you can strive for that just goes generically in every deck. But having it be 300 Canadian dollars is so much money. Like, it's too much.
I mean, it is, and Flesh and Blood is not the only culprit here. I've seen the prices of Shale Dread, and people need 4 of those. They're like $400 or more. Shale Dread's worth a lot. And I would like to note, Tunic has been printed 4 times now. There's less than 15 Flesh and Blood sets, and Tunic has been printed 4 times. There's the original set, there's the reprint set history pack, and then it's also been printed in Crucible and Bright Lights. Currently, the cheapest Tunic you can get on TCG Player is $78.99, and it is a Krunik. Oddly enough, the Bright Lights one is worth a couple dollars more, about $84.
Weird.
Yeah, I don't know why, but it's worth like $5 more for some reason. The white border one is also worth like $82, more than the Krunik. And then the rainbow foil one, lowest listing price is 140-ish, 137. I'm gonna click on the Krunik and make sure there's nothing wrong with the sell. No, yeah. Near mint unlimited, $78.99. Yeah, it is what it is.
Pretty good.
I was making sure it wasn't damaged or something like that. So yeah, Tunic's a good one. Command and Conquer. You know what? Let's look at Command and Conquer. That's one that has not seen as many printings.
Yeah, in fact, I think it's only been reprinted once. I mean, technically twice as a Fabled, but I would not count that. That's not real.
Yeah, it's only been reprinted once, in my opinion. The Fabled one is the $700 version does not count, in my opinion. So CNC is still like $100 card. It's lowest price for the black border version is $98.99, and then the white border version is about $10 cheaper, $88.90 or $88.89. So
is that English only, or is that foreign as well?
I'm only looking at the English versions on TCG Player. I have no idea how much the other versions are.
Okay.
Which they would also be history pack versions because we don't have actual Arcane Rising printed in other languages.
Yeah.
I imagine probably pretty close in price to the history pack version, or maybe even more depending on the language, to be honest.
Yeah, because that's where all of my CNCs have come from. Opening black border history packs, either Spanish or German. That's where all of mine have come from. Luckily, and then I think you gave me one too, right?
I gave you a command. I gave you a Easter egg.
That's right. Yeah, I still have that, obviously.
I have just opened up so much of the first 2 Flesh and Blood sets, Welcome to Wraith and Arcane Rising. I think I've literally opened up over 100 boxes of both sets. So I've not ever purchased this card. I've only ever opened it. So I have like probably about 9 Command and Conquers. 3 of them are foil unlimited, and 3 of them are first edition, not foil. And same for E-Strike. I literally just opened up. I have so many. Well, I don't have so many anymore. I gave one to Az, and I've kind of spread the luck around a little bit, giving them to friends and all that kind of good stuff. But I still have like 9 or 10 E-Strikes. 3 of them are alpha. I think I only have 2 rainbow foil versions, but it's just what happens when you open up like an ungodly amount of boxes.
Roger.
Not all at once, mind you. It was just like, I'll open up some, and then I'll be like, I kind of want to buy some more Flesh and Blood, and then I'll buy like 2 cases here and 2 cases there, and just adds up.
I'm just looking at these the foreign cards now. I say foreign, but non-English basically. There's a French CNC on Card Market, which is basically the EU equivalent of TCG Player, being sold by an individual sellers. It's like a conglomeration of like individual sellers at €49 for a German one. So
conversion rate, that's a little bit more. So it's like what, $50 or $60 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, €49. It's currently €49 is 53.13 USD.
Yeah.
Which, because of Canadian, is 72 Canadian dollars.
So is that bad or good?
It is better than most of the other prices that we could find CNCs for.
Yeah, and then Easter eggs on TCG Player are about $34. Black Border's $34. History Pack is $33. So I mean, like, that's not too bad, but I mean, like, the fact that you need 3 of them is like that's like $100 right there for your deck. So $100 for there. If you need CNCs as well, it's another $300. So that's $400 just for your CNCs and your E-Strikes. Then you slap in your Tunic, which is another like $80. So there's $480 just for those cards alone. Now you're gonna have to get all of the others. Like, it adds up quite a bit. Not every deck runs them.
Make sure you get your German E-Strikes, your Richter Schlags for €18.
I have a full playset of those. I have a full playset of the Schlags.
The Schlags, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I got those in person. I traded for those in person with the dude from Whitebat.
Heiner. Yeah.
Heiner at Worlds. Yeah. I opened up a was it an eye? Ivophidia? Yeah, he was like, here, you can open up a box of History Pack. And I was opening up the box of History Pack, and I opened up E-Strike, and I'm like, oh, sweet, E-Strike, Schlag. And then I was like, I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna open up anything better. And then I opened up an eye, and he was like stoked. And I'm like, I jokingly said, hey, can I have the eye? And he's like, no. And I'm like, can I have the E-Strike? And he's like, yeah, you can have that. And I'm like, yes. So he gave me the Easter egg for opening the eye.
And those moments as well. Those moments are forever eternalized on both yours and my vlogs for Worlds.
Yeah.
That moment. So
yep.
times.
That was good.
Yeah.
Good old eye.
Didn't think this would descend into a Living Legends finance corner, but hey ho, that's slow news week. That's what happens.
Look. Well, I mean, we had a new set release. Holy boosh. Ivophidia is still like a $350 card. All right, let me look up.
Oh, yeah.
Let me look up Heart. I have no idea. So this is how much I really don't pay attention to finance. I actually don't know how much these cards are worth, even though I own them. Ooh, Heart's still like $300. Eyes not that much more. They're pretty close. Wow.
Yeah.
Arknight Shard. I'm just
I do want to
Googling.
get an eye video, but
Arknight Shard. Arknight Shard's 280. Dude, Eyes. I splurge. So I luckily I opened up tons and tons of Command and Conquers and whatnot. I've actually opened up 3 or 4 hearts. I have not opened a single eye. My pull rate on the Fabled for Arcane Rising is awful. Like I mentioned, I've opened up over 100 boxes. Well over 100 boxes. Never opened up an eye. I have opened up an Arknight Shard though, which was cool. Yeah, no eye. So I bought an eye from someone and I picked it up in person at was it Worlds or so. I picked it up, from someone. I think they sold it to me at a pretty good price, $250, $220, something like that. But
that sounds funny. I bought an eye from someone and I went and collected it from someone.
Hey, I didn't want that getting shipped in the mail.
Eye.
I didn't want it getting damaged in the mail, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of.
Eye is so good for
Fabled
Rangers.
Fabled.
It's so good for Rangers.
Eye is super good for Rangers and for Wizards.
Yeah.
Because it's blue that fixes the top of your deck. Hello, Kano.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of nuts for Kano. But like, you pitch it for your Death Dealer, and then you do your Scry trigger first, and then you can, or your Opt trigger first, so you can opt to see which card you draw. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the Fables that I've pulled, because I've actually had pretty good Fable luck. I think I've pulled either 2 or 3 hearts. I've pulled 1 eye, maybe 2, 1 eye for sure. Arcanite Shard was the first Fabled I ever pulled before I knew what Fableds were. I bought a box each of Welcome to Wraith, Arcane Rising, and Crew from one of my local game stores, and in that set of 3, I pulled a Tunic from the Welcome to Wraith box, and I pulled Arcanite Shard from from the Crucible of War box. So it was an amazing day.
My Tunic luck is not great either. I have pulled a couple Tunics, but given the fact I've opened up hundreds of boxes and I've only opened up like 2 or 3 Tunics, the pull rate's not good compared to like the 5 tech plates that I've opened and the scab skin leathers. I've opened a lot of scabbies.
Oh my god, I've opened so many. I've opened so many Braveforge bracers. At one point, I had like 7 copies of Braveforge bracers that I had just pulled. It was the only legendary that I could pull from Welcome to Wraith for the longest time. I think I've pulled maybe 5 Tunics. I think 3 of them, maybe 2 of them were Rainbow Foil. I've pulled 1 from Crew, 1 from Bright Lights.
I've opened personally 3 or 4, something like that. But like 1. I'm trying to think now. I think I opened up 1 from History Pack on stream I think it was part of, or was it from? It was from Crew. I opened it as part of a Go Bananas. And then I opened up my Cold Foil 1 from the first box I bought off of eBay, back when Flesh and Blood Alpha boxes were selling for $60 on eBay, because no one knew what the gamer played. At the time, it was like worth $200, $200 or $300, and I got really excited and texted Robin like, "Oh, but I have a $300 card." It's worth a little bit more than that these days.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I still have it. I still have that and a full set of the Arcane Rising Cold Foil Legendaries. They're a nice little nest egg. I joke with Robin. I'm like, hey, maybe when this card's worth $100,000, we can go put a down payment on a house. We could sell it and go put a down payment. Go sell it to Saint or something or someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I've pulled the first Cold Foil Fabled I ever pulled was Corsham. Then I also pulled not an Illusion of Grandeur. That's a Magic the Gathering card.
Grandeur of Valahai.
Grandeur of Valahai. I pulled a Cold Foil of one of those. I've pulled a Rainbow Foil Light of Soul, a Rainbow Foil Blood of the Drakai, and then I think that's it for the Fableds that I've pulled. Because I've never pulled a library. I had to buy mine. And then I haven't pulled the CNC because they don't exist. And I haven't pulled, what were some of the other ones? I haven't pulled a Master Cog, and I haven't pulled a Deathmatch Arena.
Yeah, mine's almost the same. I've pulled all of them. I can tell you ones I haven't. No Eye. No Master Cog. No Arena. I think I pulled the rest, though. I might be forgetting one. I pulled so many Light of Souls, though, dude. I think I pulled like 4 or 5 Light of Souls, 1 cold foil, and a bunch of rainbow foils. Like, they just, they just kept popping out. Yeah.
We all got them, didn't we? Dust was on. Yeah.
I pulled 2 or 3 Plague Hives, sold them down to 1 rainbow foil, got the rainbow foil one signed by Mark Poole, and then I bought a cold foil one from FABTCG cards.
I don't think of maybe I also have missed Plague Hive. I don't think I've pulled it.
Oh, that's the best one.
Didn't you pull a Plague Hive?
I didn't know.
Oh, I thought you did in our box opening stream. Maybe I'm thinking of different set.
No, I pulled the Blood of Drakai, I think, on our stream that we did.
That's what it was.
I think that's like the cheapest. I think that's the cheapest Fabled too.
The Garbo one. Yeah.
But I wanted to
maybe
be
someday.
So
maybe someday it'll be good. I looked up cold foil tunics. The cheapest one on TCG Player is $6,000.
Yeah.
There's only 3, and they're like 2 of the listings are from like game stores and retailers that Flesh and Blood players will know. The first one is Realm Games, has their listed for 6,100, and then the second one is Magnolia Gaming, and they have their listed for 6,900. And then some crazy person has one listed for 15 grand. Bro, if there's like 2 6,000s, no one's gonna buy your 15 grand one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious on the blood of the Drakai. Blood of the Drakai. I actually have like a metal print of this from Steve. $25. Blood of the Drakai. I thought it would be like 40, but nope. $25 for rainbow foil. It like reduces the cost of your stuff. I remember people thinking this card was going to be like insanely busted. They're like, "Oh, it's so broken."
Well, technically, it adds 4 resources. Technically.
Most of the time, it does nothing. Like
most of the time, it doesn't pitch for anything, really.
Yeah, it pitches for 1 red. Yeah, what it does is, by the way, if you don't know what the Blood of the Drakai does, and I don't blame you for not knowing, it's a Draconic resource gem, so you can only use it in a Draconic deck anyway. And it says, when you pitch the Blood of the Drakai, the next 3 Draconic cards you play this turn cost 1 less. And it's a red pitch card, so you get 1 resource, and the next 3 Draconic cards cost 1 less. I think the problem is that it's really hard to string together 3 other Draconic cards in addition to the Blood of the Drakai. Like,
yeah,
even like Magical Christmas Land, it's not that great. In Magical Christmas Land, this is basically like a blue. Like any blue pitch card. You
almost need like a 5-card hand for it to be good.
Yeah.
For it to be reasonable. So,
because like
it's unfortunate, but in theory,
you also need those Draconic cards to at least cost 1 to get value out of it. And a lot of the Draconic cards I can think of cost 0 that are good that people play. You have your Blaze Hedgehog. You have like your 1-drop dragons. Like you have your 0-drop dragons. There's not a lot that like this works with. And like if you're just doing 1 dragon, if you're doing like Blood of the Drakai into like Draconic Optimi, it's only like a 2. It only makes like 2 resources. You might as well just have a blue. Anyway, it's technically a red though, so it counts for red stuff. But yeah, there's a reason why no one except for me plays with this card. I like it because it's jank.
So like, yeah, it's like similar thing to another Uprising card, which I thought was going to be absolutely outrageous when it first came out, and that was Phoenix Form, right? If you control 3 or more Phoenix Flames, when it hits, they draw 3 cards. That's like cost nothing to play. I thought that was going to be insane, but we never saw that in FIDEX, did we? Phoenix Form.
I
maybe
do it one time.
One time.
I got to do the thing one time, and it got fully blocked, and I did not draw cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the thing. Just block it out.
Yeah, seems like a great chain ender. Great chain ender if they got no cards in hand after you've hit them many times. But
it's the same problem that Whirling Mistblossom has.
Block me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm gonna do my thing. I've set it all up. I'm gonna draw some cards, and they're just like, yeah, block it. And you're like, oh,
block it with equipment. Or something.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe if you have like a sweet attack reaction or something to like push it over the top. So the best I've ever had was I was playing against someone on stream. It might have been against Ian. I was playing with a ninja deck. It might have been Ira. And no, it was definitely Ira because I attacked with Whirling Mist Blossom, and I had one card in hand, and he did just a 2-block on it. Right, he just did 2-block, and he's like, I guess if you have it, you have it. And then I played from hand Ancestral Empowerment, drawing 3 cards, 1 from the Empowerment, 2 from the on hit. Oh, that was like the best. That was the best feeling. I just ancestraled him and also hit him, dealt him 1 damage. Oh, it was so good.
Yeah, that's disgusting. My version of that, which I think I've told the story before, but I still love it, is when I was playing Benji right after Everfest came out. So you had access to Spring Tidings. And I was playing against our local warrior player, who is no longer local. He moved away somewhere else, but is still keeping the Flesh and Blood spirit alive. Shout out Dana. But unfortunately for Dana, he did not have very many reps playing against Benji. So did not know how to use his equipment effectively.
Oh no.
And that is just a fact he has learned since, but it was very, very fresh. Hadn't played against Benji. And I think, if I remember correctly, the math was I was able to draw 15 cards because I went double. I was able to go like 4 cards into Spring Tidings, draw 5, and then a couple more attacks into another Spring Tidings, draw 10.
Oh my god. That's disgusting. You know, deck yourself. Well, you're going to kill your opponent because they have no cards, so it's just
almost.
they just die.
Yeah, I was like, okay, now I get to play all the other cards in my hand basically for free.
Yeah, because they'll probably like 0 cost go agains, and they probably
all 0 cost. I have a single blue, and it casts the rest of my attacks. So.
Yep, probably all can't be blocked because you're doing Benji stuff because they probably attack for 2 or whatever. Yep.
That was like the one and only time I was able to live the dream with Benji. Because then after that, everybody started packing a bunch of Ironhide stuff. And it's like, well, okay.
Hey, maybe bringing this back into our main topic, maybe Benji will get some more support in part the Mistveil. Hey, maybe we'll finally get an adult Benji. We got an adult KO and an adult Kasai. Maybe this is where they like put in the Benji. That would make a little bit of sense to me. Put Benji in, make him into a Tiger Ninja.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen in Magic, obviously, we've seen the ninjas, ninjas in Magic, they're quite, they're ninjutsu, they're unblockable, aren't they? So maybe there are some sort of unblockable mechanics sort of in this set as well, potentially, which would be a great way to bring Benji back, because obviously Benji has some unblockable shenanigans. So maybe we will see that with spirits and mist and sneak attacks and all this. Maybe there is an unblockable thing in there, which makes sense.
Well,
with ninjas, especially.
I think, you need to have some sort of evasion mechanics kind of built in to not have an awful limited experience.
True. So
like having stealth, having like some sort of unblockable ninja shenanigans, and then whatever illusionist is going to do. I'm like I said, I'm super looking forward to it.
That's gonna be
I actually might buy more of this set than normal. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Form of evasion in this set is just going to be make a large attack.
Make it huge.
Make it big.
Yeah.
I was thinking about how Illusionist pairs into the other 2 classes, at least currently, and I think it's really interesting because Assassin and Ninja don't exactly have a lot of 6 attack cards. Assassin has like a couple, and Ninja has like none. I can't think of a single Ninja attack that's 6. So I don't know. I think it could play very, very interestingly into like in Limited. Yeah. I'm curious to know what the viewers think about what are their thoughts on part the Mistveil. Is there any like spicy things we're missing? Dude, if it's right, if it's Assassin, Ninja, and Illusionist, it's got all the makings for like one of my favorite sets of all time. So
yeah, well, it's like you say, Illusionist, obviously, ninjas and assassins don't have too many ways to do phantasm things. So if they are doing phantasm things, they could be the beta of the set, couldn't they? With big Illusionist attacks or whatever going over the top rather than going wide, etc. So that makes sense. That could be their evasion, just big numbers, whereas the other ones don't do it. They're more wider ones, but yeah, should be good fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that said, do we want to just go into the Arsenal steep and then talk about that?
Yeah. Actually, I've got. I completely forgot. I was going to mention this.
Go
So
for it.
I've been given a battle hardened ticket to give away on this podcast. Probably
okay.
should have.
Okay.
I probably should have mentioned it at the start but anyone who's listening to this farther on into the podcast will be able to take advantage of it now. Then, so I've got a battle hardened Kiel Germany ticket to give away to someone who's listening to this podcast, whether it's in audio form or video form. So this just comes from my friend Taddle, as a patron of mine. I think we met him briefly at Barcelona, Bill. One of the many people that came up to us saying, "Oh, I live in Legends podcast," because that happened quite a lot in
Nice.
Worlds. So yeah, courtesy of him. I think he knows the game store fairly well, who's running it. So that's on March the 15th to the 17th, 2024. And the winner will be pulled next week. So we need to choose a winner next week. So if you're listening this far on, I will promote it on Twitter and stuff as well. So if you haven't listened to it, haven't listened this far, you can still enter and all that. But yeah, just thought I'd mention that as well. So we do have one of those to give away as well.
How do you want people to enter?
I don't know. I'm open to suggestions. I
Okay.
completely forgot to mention it until now. So
I normally do, when I do a giveaway like this in the video, I will just have people comment something specific in the comments so we know that they actually want to enter. So
yeah,
we could do that. So if you are listening to this, please go to the video version of this episode on youtube.com/redzonerogue. And we'll have everyone who wants to enter this to type in something in the comments. What do you want them to say? What should we have them say?
well, just something to do with battle hardened Kiel, I guess. Kiel. So it's location in northern Germany.
You know, we'll make it simple. What hero are you going to bring to the battle hardened? Just comment that down below. Say, I'm going to bring Riptide or whatever. You're probably not going to bring Riptide.
You know, somebody might.
well,
Shout out, Mink.
Somebody might. Absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, just thought I'd mention that as well before we go into the Arsenal step. But yeah, make sure you do that.
Cool.
What hero are you going to be playing at Battle Hardened Kiel if you're going? And hopefully we can get you entered for free by leaving that comment on the Red Zone Rogue video version.
What hero
so head on over there.
and why is it Arachne? Let us know in the comments down below.
Burns of the past. Meta.
I mean, actually, though. Absolutely. Okay.
Sorry, carry on.
No, it's all good. I just have, I guess I have some stuff for the Arsenal step. It's not like a lot, I guess. So, I just, this past weekend, I hosted another Grand Archive Starter Deck event in my Rogues Gallery community Discord. We had about 18 players for this one. A little bit smaller than the previous one, but it was still really good. Everyone had like a great time. I always get good feedback on these. And it went so well that I'm likely going to be hosting more events in my Discord in 2024. What's great about the Grand Archive events is I have a really good relationship with the creators of the game, and I have official prize support for the events that I host in my Discord. So they gave me like an actual like prize support kit, and that I distribute out. I do participation prizing for my events because I want everyone to walk away with something, plus extra stuff. So with that said, I will likely be doing another one of those for Grand Archive later this year for their next set, Mercurial Heart. And I am thinking about doing that for other games as well. I think if Part the Mistveil is as awesome as I think it is, I think doing like a Blitz starter deck event in the Discord would be really cool. I have no idea for pricing on that because I don't think Flesh and Blood is going to give me official prize support. So I'll have to come up with some way to make that work and make it worth everyone's time, other than it just being fun. And then I'm definitely going to be hosting some sort of event like that for Shadowverse Evolve, probably a couple. I have an idea for a limited event, like a sealed event for the next set. And then when their multiplayer product, Glory Finder, comes out later this year, I think it'd be really fun to do like a multiplayer event where we have like a couple different pods and everyone plays with the pre-constructed multiplayer decks and all that kind of stuff. Likely won't have official price support from them either, but I have some better ideas for some cool stuff for that. So yeah, just doing some of that kind of stuff this year to just help engage with the community and to play some more games. And then on the docket for me this weekend, I'm going to do casting for Grand Archive North American Nationals. So you can catch me on the live stream this weekend on the official Grand Archive YouTube channel. Going to be doing coverage all weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. It is my second casting event of the year and not my last. I will talk about the other ones coming up that I have when I'm able to do so.
Sounds
yeah.
good.
So that's what I got. That's what I got the going on right now outside of Flesh and Blood, other than like content and stuff. Oh, hey, wait! Watch my Japan travel vlogs if you haven't. Go watch them; they're fun. I posted the second one recently. Yeah.
Definitely.
I check out a Shinto shrine in the middle of Akihabara, and then I meet with an anime TCG game dev in the Final Fantasy Cafe, and eat a little fat cat meat bun and stuff. I don't know, it's cool.
Hell yeah!
Go check it out.
Yeah, that's awesome. How about you, Az? What's in your arsenal?
What's my arse this week? So to be honest, the league that means nothing has been taking up a lot of my time, despite it meaning absolutely nothing to the eventual winner and my channel in general. It's been taking up a lot of my time recently, so that's Flesh and Blood related. Outside of that, as I mentioned at the very start, me and my girlfriend moved back in with my mum for a while. I reckon we'll probably be here for at least a year while we hardcore save to sort ourselves out. Because yeah, it is tough out there at the moment, especially in the UK. I think we're one of the countries that has the highest inflation right now. Yeah. So the cost of living is through the roof. So not in my own space, which is difficult to a certain degree, but also it's nice, being with your parents again, seeing more of them. Family's quite an important thing. So struggles and pros and cons to everything. But yeah, it's good. It's good stuff, and it's a means to an end, essentially. Not everything in life is going to be easy. It's going to be hard in some places, and that's what I'm going through at the moment. So yeah, it's not a fantastic Arsenal step, but it is one that's happening nonetheless. So I just thought I'd bring that to everybody's attention. Yeah. But yeah, luckily I'm in the corner of this room, which is we basically do have our own separate lounge, which is cool. Mum's got quite a large house, so it's quite good. Nice. So we got our own little space, and I can still host a league that means absolutely nothing in this corner. I just need my webcam pointing down at my screen, and I'm good to go. And I can do the Living Legends podcast in a hoodie as well. So
yeah. There's another reason to check out the video version. You can see Az in an hoodie.
You can, yeah, for the first time ever.
It's got little bergs on it. Yeah, little bergs.
And I started a new job recently as well, so obviously that's paying more. So that's obviously going to fast track the process, because I think fair people know, because I've announced it a few times, that I had a bit of issues with my other job before. So yeah, that's all resolved now. Going through the first week of training on this new one. So yeah, it's a lot of the Arsenal step is a lot of life stuff rather than playing other games or doing other things. But that happens to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not always fun to talk about, but it's important. Like, I mean, I can relate a little bit too. Like, the last 2 months have been very expensive for me. We had 3 sets. Yeah. All 3 games that I play had huge set releases within the span of a week. Then I had a trip to Japan. It was for work, but it still cost me a little bit of money. And then I have more travel coming up, and it's a lot of stuff. Even if you do get comped for travel, a lot of the times you will have to buy your tickets and stuff and then get comped after the fact. So you need to buy the stuff, and then you're down like some money for a little bit of time. So there's a lot of these little bumps. And then there's also all these Kickstarters, like the sponsor of the video today, Grimpath. And then there's also Altered, and all of this stuff is just all happening all at once. And I'm looking at my bank account and I'm just like, oh my God, dude, like it is rough. I think I really need to cut back. I actually might. So I've backed Altered on Kickstarter, but I think I might like cut back my pledge by quite a bit, because I'm currently backing in like one of the all-in tiers, which is going to be like $700 or something, and I'm
really?
like,
yeah,
I don't know if I can do this right now. Like maybe in like two months I could have done this, but right now I don't know. It's just everything all at once is like draining. So I understand. Yeah, and you know, even go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, card games, as much as they are amazing and great fun, you also have to be very careful and actually have to realize how much you're spending on them, because it is a lot to be involved with TCGs and hobbies in general, really. So yeah, it's one of those things where you feel like you're missing out as well, especially with Kickstarter. It's one of those things, isn't it, where if you don't do it, you're not going to get the thing and all the special stuff that comes with it. It does prey upon that a little bit, but yeah, it's expensive either way. Yeah,
and I do want to, I mean, this is pretty late into the episode. I should have mentioned this when we were talking about the Japan thing. But I do think this is relevant because it's expensive, man. Like, I would like nothing more than to go back to Japan this year. And after they announced, I was not expecting it, though I did kind of predict it a little bit. I did think there'd be some Flesh and Blood events in Japan this year. But I was looking at like flights and stuff. And I mentioned this in my video, man, like the cheapest flights for me, unless they were like absolutely garbage tier flights that have like 20-hour layovers, the cheapest reasonable flights for me were like $3,000, like round trip. It was like, you know, $1,700 one way, $1,400 one way. It's like, I'm like, dude, I don't know if I can justify like a $4,000 trip again. Like, and then I told Robin, I'm like, oh, so cool. And I told her the price, and she was just like, no. Like, she's like, that's 2 months rent. And this is, if you're not working it, you're just basically going on a $4,000 vacation. And I'm like, yeah, I would feel pretty bad and somewhat irresponsible. The funny thing, people are like, oh, just bring her with you. Not only does that double the price, it makes a $4,000 trip an $8,000 trip. Robin is more responsible than me, and she is very, you know, hesitant to take time off work. Also, she's like a manager at her work, so she's very much needed. But anyway, going back on what Az said, hey, it's expensive, and sometimes you just can't afford it, right? And it's just part of life. I would like nothing more than to go to Japan again. Am I going to? I don't know. Probably not. Robin might kill me. If I could somehow get the trip sponsored, but if I have to pay it out of pocket, I don't know, man. I don't know, especially since I already went there once this year too. It's just like, yeah. So I know some people. I'm saying this because I know some people are going to ask us, like, "Oh, are you guys going to go?" I would love to go. I'm pretty sure everyone here would love to go. But
yeah, I mean, a thing as well is picking your battles as well, because, you know, this was only announced recently, and it's only 3 months away. So
yeah, man, it's a short turnover,
short period of time. Yeah. But I do want to continue the trend of going to Worlds each year for Flesh and Blood stuff. So I will try and continue that trend, depending on where it is and what's happening. But I want to try and continue that trend. And obviously, we all want to meet when we can, all three of us, because we haven't had that luxury yet.
Worlds, man, I know we're in our Arsenal step, but Worlds is interesting this year because since we're having the world premiere of Part the Mistveil in Japan, that means Worlds will likely not be in Japan. I doubt they'll double up. So that means Worlds is going to be somewhere else. I know a lot of people were thinking APAC region, but like I said, we just had one in Japan. I could still maybe see another one in APAC. But I know a lot of other people are like, oh, maybe this will be, you know, East Coast USA. I don't know. Pro Tour is in LA. Maybe they're gonna do New York for Worlds or something. I can say this: if Worlds is in the United States, there's like a 98% chance I go, because it'll be easy for me to go. If it's overseas, I'll see how much it costs. Basically, we'll see how much it costs. No longer is the passport an issue, but we'll see how much the price is.
Yeah, I would love to go back to New York. If it was New York, I would confirm myself to be there 100% because that was great. That was a great time. I'll definitely go back there. Would you be able to go to something like that, Bill? Do you think East Coast USA, end of the year?
East Coast USA, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
As we were kind of talking about, I don't think I'm going to be able to swing going to Japan as much as I would love to.
Yeah, same.
Like, don't have enough money in the bank to do
It's
it.
just- like, oh man, I want to go back so badly too, but it's just like, I don't know, and I think here's the other thing. I think I'll have opportunities to go back to Japan outside of this in the future through like, it'll just come up. So as much as I'd like to go, probably not, but we'll see.
Yeah, probably not in the cards, as they say.
Yeah.
But yeah, if stuff's in like the continental US, it's a lot easier for me to swing that. Because going to Japan, like Kel said, would probably be a $3,000 trip. Meanwhile, a trip to the States, depending on what I could do, maybe only like $1,500. Like, it's about half as expensive. It's still like a trip, so I couldn't do it a billion times. But if it's just Worlds, then it's just Worlds.
Yeah, and after missing Worlds last year, I would very much like to go this year. So I'm really keen on the announcement. I really, really hope they announce it soon. Like within the next month or so we actually have like a decent amount of time to plan for it and not like 3 months out.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah, I feel like it's something they're potentially getting better at. Still, I still don't think 3 months notice for something like Japan is enough time for a lot of people, unfortunately. But yeah,
I mean, for me, it's like it would have been nice to be able to save up for it because, like I mentioned, I'm just like, dude, I'm drained this month. Like I've just been spending so much on cards and stuff, and like just coming back from Japan, and it's just like here's another Japan trip, and I'm like, oh, I want to go, but I need time to recover. I still got to pay bills and stuff, man. Yeah.
Exactly.
So we'll see. Hey,
anything in your Arsenal step, Bill, before we close off?
Other than what I was talking about earlier, I've unfortunately, because of Chicago, I am sort of in the mindset of Magic the Gathering.
What deck did you play? What decks did you play in Chicago?
So I played a couple of different ones. I played a few that were proxied that Madison had brought. Madison is another member of the Spike Feeders. And then the main deck that I wanted to play a bunch of was my Shieldred the Apocalypse deck, which you had mentioned Shieldred the Apocalypse earlier. I pulled a really nice version of it. It's the Step and Complete Concept Praetor foil from like an all-1.
The hell does that even mean?
It's a bunch of words. It's the highest rarity version of it that exists.
Okay.
And I pulled it out of like 2 collector boosters.
That's not like a serialized or whatever, right?
No, it wasn't serialized, but it has like the rainbow foiling on it has like little Phyrexian symbols all around it. Like instead of it being like sparkly or shiny, it's like little Phyrexian symbols.
Yeah, it looks like the Japanese like cutesy foil, except instead of like cute little stars, it's like Phyrexian symbol.
Yeah, like K-pop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But so I pulled one of those and then just made a deck around it with all of the black cards that I still owned. And it's a ton of fun, and it's so much fun that I decided to make it less fun for other people to play against by buying expensive things that allow me to cast it earlier, including Jeweled Lotus, which allows me to cast it on turn 1 of the game. Basically turning my Shieldred into a ley line. I have a
Jeweled Lotus too. I have a really nice version of Jeweled Lotus. So it's like the alternate art with the really cool thing. Anyway, but I run it in my like jank as hell assassin rogue theme deck that I can play Mari the Killing Quill on turn 1. Ooh, hell yeah. Mari, she's a 2/3.
Also, so Jeweled Lotus cost nothing, does it?
Zero drop.
Jeweled
Yeah.
Lotus costs 0, and you can crack it to add 3 mana of any one color, but you can only use that mana to cast your commander.
Yeah.
So you get 1 from the land that you've played, and then 3 from so you can cast a full CMC on turn 1.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah, it's actually like quite good in decks that really care about your commander, but I mean, like my most competitive deck is a mono blue. I mean, as you'd probably guess, it's a mono blue commander deck where I could run Urza as the commander. He's in the deck, but I choose to run Reality Chip instead.
Hell yeah!
And I obviously have the anime art for Reality Chip with all the waifus standing around the floating chip. But yeah.
Yeah, so I played some Shieldred. That was a lot of fun. I bought a Jeweled Lotus at the event, and then I think the next game, or maybe the game after that I played with it, I was able to. I had Jeweled Lotus plus a land, so I was like, "Oh, turn 1 Shieldred." This
Nice.
was worth the money.
Do you run stuff like Underworld Dreams and stuff in that deck?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Underworld Dreams.
Oh, do you have like the old one? Do you have like the one from like? Do you have the Underworld Dreams from like Legends or the Dark or whatever?
No, it's like a reprint one. The quality of cards that are in this Shieldred deck fluctuates wildly from being really gross versions of cards to like I have a random printing of Solemn Simulacrum from like it's like a newer printing, all the way to I have an Alpha Demonic Tutor.
Nice.
That I just play in the deck. I have a original foil Bloodstained Mire that was bent in half before I purchased it.
Nice.
It's just a janky ass deck, and I love it.
Yeah.
And then I'm also building right now. I'm calling it Large Catman. It's a card called Sovereign Okinek Ahau, which I'm trying to show.
Literally no idea what the hell that is.
Yeah, it's impossible to see because of my ring light.
At one point, I would pride myself on knowing almost like any time someone would show me a Magic card, I'm like, oh, I know what that does. Now it's just like, bro, if it was in the last like 4 years, no idea. Outside of like some stuff.
This one's relatively new. It's from Lost Caverns of Ixalan, which came out.
That makes sense why I don't know what it is.
But yeah, his effect is basically whenever he attacks, he looks at all of your creatures, and any that have current power greater than their base power, they get +1/+1 counters equal to the difference between their current power and their base power.
Yeah.
So if you have a 2/2 that is a 5/5 for whatever reason, if it has counters or it's buffed by an equipment or whatever, it gets 3 additional +1/+1 counters.
So what you're telling me is if you cradle a hoof in, then they all get double hoof, right?
Yes.
That's gross.
Yeah. There's also a new white card called Moonshaker Cavalry.
Oh, I know what that is.
Basically, it's basically Craterhoof Behemoth, except it gives flying and it's white.
Out of like the 3 Magic channels that I watch, Spike Feeders being one of them, Tolarian Community College being the other, and then Pleasant Kenobi being the other one. By the way, I watch all of these strictly because I know the people who make them. But Pleasant Kenobi he made a video about how that card is not as good as Hoof and yada yada yada. So that's why I know that one.
Yeah. It may not be as good as Hoof, but it is another Hoof, and it is white. So
it's kind of cool. Yeah,
it goes in the deck.
I mean, you can't natural order it out, but it's all good.
Yeah, but yeah. So that's the deck that I'm building right now. I have a copy of a card that I pulled from New Phyrexia when it was still new. But Triumph of the Hordes, which is a nice and fun card for everybody who plays Magic. I know that's a fact.
I run that in my Marin deck, so I can play Triumph. I can get Merit Lajau and then Triumph, so she has Infect. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. But yeah, this is the original copy that I got when I just pulled it, and now it is a $20 card for some reason. It's an uncommon that has never been reprinted because it's unfun. But
I mean, yeah. At one point I was like, I want to play Canadian Highlander, and I never came to anything. So I have a ton of cards just on my desk, but I bought some specifically for Canadian Highlander. So I just have a bunch of like, here's a foil Questing Beast.
Oh yeah, Questing Beast.
And here's on a foil Atraxa Grand Unifier, and then foil Comet, Stiller Pup. These are all the cards that people are just like, oh, these are good, and these are good in Canlander. Here's a foil Oko, original Oko. Foil Minscan Boo with Boo. Ooh. Yeah. So anyway, I have a bunch of Magic cards just sitting on my desk, but They're just sitting here.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Someday I will make a Canlander deck and it will be cool. But we'll see. We'll see when that happens.
Yeah. But anyway, on this Flesh and Blood podcast, I think that'll
that's right.
Yeah,
that'll wrap
everyone's
us up. We are now
everyone's checked out.
Yeah, everybody's checked out. So
Well-
now we are fully and completely in the weeds.
I say that, but some people are still secret Magic lovers because I see the analytics on my channel and it tells me like what other people are watching. Like these are videos other people watched, and it's almost always Prof. Like you all out there be like, I hate Magic. You're still watching Magic content. I know. It tells me what you're watching. Yeah, I can even pull it up right now and go to it while we sign off, and I'll tell you what the most recent video everyone who watches my channel is watching, even though I don't cover Magic.
It's really interesting. How do you find that out? Analytics, is it?
Yeah, you go to analytics, and you go to audience.
Oh yeah.
And then you scroll down, and it says channels your audience watches. Number 1, Tolarian Community College. Number 2, DM Ramada. Hey, shout out to our good buddy Steven. Number 3, Alpha Investments. Y'all be fronting. I know what you're watching. It's telling me right here.
Magic stuff.
And then it says, and it gives you like the videos as well. So most recently, it's a video by DM Ramada. That's great. It's him talking about the new set. And then right after that, Shuffle Up and Play. I forced old Magic pros to play Commander. And then after that, Telling Community College, something has gone wrong with murders at Karlov Manor. So y'all are watching Magic content. I'm just saying.
Interesting.
Very nice.
Cool.
But yeah, anyway, let's go around the table and sign off for this episode. I have been your host for this episode. My name is Bill from the Spike Feeders. You can find me on Twitter at BillTSF. You can also find me on YouTube at the Spike Feeders Fab, where we do live edited gameplay content. If anybody is still is still here and it has any interest in Magic the Gathering content, we also do have the main channel, the Spike Feeders, which we are rapidly approaching 50,000 subscribers. So please give that a check out too if you don't already know about them. But with that being said, let me kick it over once again alphabetically to my boy Az.
That's right. Yes. So I'm Az from Go Again Gaming. So the YouTube channel is Go Again Gaming. There's a lot of content going to be out over the next few months, as I mentioned, because of the league that means absolutely nothing whatsoever. And the main sort of thought process and raw thoughts come out on Twitter. And that's Go Again Gaming AZ. Yeah, that's my main things right now. So, but yeah, as I said earlier, very excited to just have consistent content again. So, but this happens to all content creators. They go like this, they what they want to do, and different ideas and stuff come to their head. But that's it. So go and have a look when you can. That'd be great. Yeah.
Let's get those most frequently watched channels on my analytics. Let's make them into Go Again Gaming and the Spike Feeders. Hey. I'm Kel, also known as Red Zone Rogue. I talk about Flesh and Blood and other card games over on Red Zone Rogue. You can find me at youtube.com/RedZoneRogue, as well as Twitter. Those are my main places. I'm pretty active in my community Discord, so if you want to just hang out and chat, that's the Rogues Gallery Discord. I have it in the description of my videos, not in the audio-only version of this. And the community over there, surprisingly, there's some Flesh and Blood players, but there's a lot of other players for other card games in there too. It's a pretty sweet community. Everyone's very open-minded. We have a weekly group that plays Grand Archive, and we're going to be doing some Shadowverse stuff and all that kind of good stuff. And unlike I mentioned this at the top of the show, but unlike despite what rumors may say otherwise, you can still find weekly Flesh and Blood content over on Red Zone Rogue, as I clearly hate the game and the developers of the game. Goddamn, Brian Gottlieb keeps coming on the podcast, and I'm just like, man, why do you got to keep showing up?
Shooting him away.
Why?
Yeah.
No. So yeah, you can find weekly Flesh and Blood content, as well as weekly Shadowverse and Grand Archive content. So yeah, that's my stuff. Find me there if you want to do the things. And we're going to talk about more Flesh and Blood next week.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Everybody who's still around, let us know down in the comments, who is the hero or class that you are either suspecting is in the new Mistveil, the Mistveil set, or what are you most excited for? Let us know in the comments down below.
Yeah.
And until next time, thank you so much for watching. Stay well, stay safe, and we'll catch you all in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Boom.